Welcome to the FAQ podcast, frequently asked questions with Fuzzy and Quincy. Subscribe to us on YouTube at FAQ podcast. Tell a friend, comment, share, tell everybody, right? And then you can subscribe to us at FAQ podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you would like to subscribe, if you would like to advertise.
Not if you like, just do it.
fuzzyandq@gmail.com if you would like to advertise. All right, so Fuzz, we talked about this next guest.
Yeah.
Because you've seen our next guest grow up.
Yeah, I've seen DJ. That's how, we were introduced as, DJ Young One.
Yes, sir.
How old were you?
Ooh, like 12.
Super young. Like,
I've seen video. Impressive.
Learned from my homeboy, Mr. Chalk. Shout out to Mr.
Shout
Chalk.
out to Chalk.
Shout out to Scratch Academy.
Scratch Academy, yeah.
Papa, Chalk, Reverse. Yeah.
The whole camp.
The whole camp.
So I've been introduced to DJ Young One at age of 12.
Yeah.
Hip hop head. Growing up, now we have to talk about the DJing and also Nico transitioning into Nico.
Hell yeah.
So
And
this is our first conversation about this. So just please excuse us if we said anything. Just correct us.
yeah.
Hey, look, I'm
with
an
the
open
pronoun.
book.
I know you are. That's why
I
I
don't
called.
judge. Everyone
Yeah.
is learning. It's
Right.
just as much as a transition for me, it's a transition for everybody else.
So this is why I trust your conversation. You're the only person I felt comfortable and respectfully to have this conversation with, because I'm like,
I appreciate
it's an
that.
important
Thank you.
conversation.
Yes.
I've seen you're documented on Instagram, so I'm just glad that you're able to trust us with the conversation.
Absolutely.
And just to let you know, Nico, this is rap with love. It ain't no bullshit. It ain't no hate, nothing. We just want to understand. And I want you to tell your testimony. You feel me?
Straight up, right on.
So let's get into
Yeah,
it.
so Nico, like when Fuzz introduced me to you, and told me about you, and I was like, man, that would be very interesting, because I think a lot of times just in communities, period, like the things that we don't understand,
Yes.
we either shy away from or ridicule or just don't really have just questions or just understanding of like, how do I ask the questions that I would like to know, right? Or be educated in the proper way. Usually people just run away from being educated in the proper way. So that's very important for us. Let's set the table. So you're a DJ. This is
First
how
and
Fuzz though. You
foremost.
talk about learning.
Only job you ever had, right?
Well, actually, I just got a job at Amazon because I'm trying to put some extra cash in my pocket.
Shout out to Amazon.
Yeah, shout out to Jeff Bezos. He be flying to the moon and shit, but I'm just here to make him richer.
What are you doing
too.
at Amazon?
Oh, like moving packages.
Oh,
the
you
pay,
working-
the pay
you-
is good. The benefits are like amazing. Everyone
Yeah.
gets the same like benefits as far as like health insurance and stuff like that.
Oh, so you got a real job.
I'm
you in there.
adulting.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
adulting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Nico, how old are you?
I'm 19 years young.
Oh, you young. Oh, you're a baby.
I tell people I'll be like, I'm 19 going on 40. Like
Oh
Yeah,
no,
but
wait
you
till you get
always-
to 40.
but
Wait
you
till you get
always
to 40
had
to say that.
the knees gonna be.
Yeah.
Nico, but you always had this grown person persona, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the conversation about music and
Yeah.
the way you carry yourself. It was never on some kiddie shit. It was just on some like, nah.
I do what I do.
Yeah.
I
So,
move and shake and move and shake.
so did you start DJing at 12?
No.
I started DJing at 8.
Wow.
You had to be young, yeah.
I walked into Scratch Academy. I remember I was wearing like an Adidas track suit, and it was like all these guys in there that were like white dudes in their like mid-20s, and I was like this at the time, this black girl went in there, and Hoppa was like, "What? Where are you supposed to be?" And I was like, "Here." I'm like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't even think he said it like that, but like I feel like just from the energy around, people were like, "What is this kid doing here?" Because they didn't have a program for kids at the time. But once I graduated from Scratch Academy, then they opened the program.
Were
for-
you
for
the
kids.
youngest at the time? No pun intended. Youngest at the
Youngest one in charge.
youngest one in charge at the
Yeah.
academy.
That's how I got my name, because I didn't know what name. And then at the time as well, like the name that I was given at birth, which by the way I have no problem saying. Many people know me as Nandi or Young One. So, and I'm very open and transparent about my transition. So it's like I've documented it all. Like
Yeah, like I said on your Instagram. So Nandi is the birth name you had.
Yeah.
And I want so many layers
Yeah.
to Nico. Like, we got to talk about that part. Even being born and your
Mm-hmm.
mom and so
Shout out to my mom. I love her.
yeah,
Best.
Ellen?
L&D Management.
Yeah, Ellen firecracker, like
Yeah.
supportive with the shits, like supportive.
Yeah.
So let's talk about let's go back further then. So you were born like your mom is who you're not adopted. Technically.
No, that's right. That's right. My mom's adopted.
Your mom's adopted.
My mom's adopted. My mom went to a sperm bank
Got
to
it.
conceive me. My mom is also part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
So when it was like, let's see, 2000.
When you say community,
Yeah, I was
just,
about to ask.
just break it down for anybody to understand what the community is.
lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans,
Okay.
gay community, queer community,
The letters.
the alphabet mafia.
Alphabet. That's what it is. Alphabet Mafia. I like that.
You
Alphabet
know,
Mafia.
because it's like I think like every couple years there's this new evolution
Yeah.
with how we identify, especially like with the Gen Zers. So I
Yeah.
totally like, and I identify with the community. I mean, we'll get into all of that, but
We'll
yeah,
get
like
into it now. Yeah.
my mom, she had me when she was 31, and at the time she was in a relationship, and gay marriage wasn't legal at the time. So the partner that she had, they were in a domestic partnership, and so it was 2000, the year 2000, that my father donated, and I ended up having like, I started off with like 6 siblings, and that turned into 8, 12, 14. Now I have 19 or 20.
20 as of right now.
20 as of right now. It could be more because I literally,
You stopped counting.
yeah, I stopped counting like
So, hold
so
on.
long
It's so-
ago,
hold
man.
on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's a
All right.
story. This is a great
So-
story.
Thanks.
Your father donated sperm,
Yeah.
and
Is that the right way to say it?
Yeah, he jerked off in the cup, made some dollars, you know. Yeah, you know.
so how do you keep track of saying, okay, these are my siblings, and like, is it? I never knew that if you get artificially inseminated that you're able to keep track, and like how does that work?
I didn't know that either. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, there's this what is it called? A donor sibling registry through the cryobank, and you go on there, and every like person that uses that donor, they register it, and everyone. It's actually kind of cool because we have our own little Facebook page, and it's called, because my donor ID number, or his donor ID number, is 5294. So we have a Facebook page, and it's like called 5294 kids and their
I
families.
never knew that, bro.
This is what
I'm saying.
So
it's,
Nico, are you serious?
I'm
so
dead serious,
Your
man.
dad is a number to the donors.
Have you met your father?
I've wanted to, but I haven't. I try to get. Well, I just took a 23andMe test like
Okay.
couple months ago, and I think the results are coming in like sometime next week. So
So you know the number. Do you know his name?
no, I don't know what he looks like. I know what he sounds like though. I have an audio recorded like interview of him at intake.
What's intake?
Wait,
Like when they interview, like, you know, hobbies, interests, like what was it like for you growing up, all that type of stuff.
so the sperm donor, they do an audio interview.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you have permission to get that.
It's probably more advanced now, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's definitely like, I don't have a picture. I have his health records, but
Okay.
as far as his name and stuff, what he looks like, I have no.
So when
Nothing.
your mom Ellen chose this sperm donor
Mm-hmm.
number, what is it?
5294.
5294. Did she see, or did she just like? Was it like, what was her process? Do you know? Do you ever talk to her about it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get to like. It's crazy because I remember being a kid and like in
Mm-hmm.
6 or 7 years old, I'd be like, you know, it'd be Father's Day. We'd be doing stuff at we'd be doing stuff at like for Father's Day activities, and
Curiosity.
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm like, who's my dad? Like, who am I gonna give this card to?
Yeah.
You just end up, like with me, I didn't grow up with my father, so I just those Father's Day things, I just give it to my mom. So
I did the
it's probably
same
thing, right?
And that's
Yeah.
what birthed the conversation between my mom and I. And I appreciate my mom for having the conversation with me before the school system.
So how old were you when the conversation?
We had
Like
a real
7.
we had a real
Okay.
conversation.
Yeah, we started learning about like reproduction, all that stuff. They
Yeah.
called it like family learn something like that. Family learning.
That's early. I didn't learn about none of that till like after.
But again, you had to have the conversation
Yeah,
because
because this is
before
different.
you. Yes. Okay.
And then at the time too, like my mom, well, she told me that. So here's what happened. She tried another donor, and he was like I think he was Arabian or something, I don't, or Middle Eastern, something like that. And the sample that she had, it didn't fertilize. So then she had to take hormones again, and she had to try another time. And then she picked my donor, and then boom, here I am.
So that's mom. That's how you just know it as that's your mother for sure.
I was like, and she tells me too, like,
Y'all
I was
chosen for each other.
intentional.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
'Cause
I
it-
was intentional. Like, tried, failed, tried again.
And here
She
comes,
really wanted a girl. She had one.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
So at 7 years old, you get this information. How are you processing this information at 7?
I think I just sort of like, I kind of just went with it. I knew something was always different about me, even before I knew.
Really?
Yeah, like I knew when I was 4, I thought that I was a boy. Like I thought that was. I didn't discover the word trans until I was in about like high school.
So were you just was it under what we know in America is tomboy era? So you just think I'm just a tomboy?
I thought that for
Yeah.
primarily for the time that I was working at the station too. Like I was very, female only at the time, only female DJ on the on the roster, and shout out to Doc because
Doc Winter.
Doc Winter is probably one of the most like supportive, like
Yes.
most influential guys in the music industry as far as like representation and outreach. Like
Yep.
he's always made sure that I've had, a say in how I've been represented, and for that I'm totally grateful for that dude. So
Wow.
yeah.
So if people who don't know, you work at 92 Real here in Los Angeles as a DJ, and
still
Doc
there, right?
Winter's your boss.
Still iHeartRadio.
Still iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
still
dope.
employed.
I remember when you got hired, so I'm like it was dope. I'm like, she was probably skillfully one of the better DJs out of the roster because scratching and tricks, and I'm like, wow. I was always been super impressed by it, but I think when she mixed on air, you kind of had to dummy down your DJ skill because you had to blend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I remember because Doc had me go on air for like 5 minutes, and he didn't tell me that I was on air when I walked in, and he was like, "I just want you to spin, don't stop DJing until I come back in the studio." And it's been like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour 30, and then top of the hour goes, and J9 was at the station at the time, and he was running the board, and they just put me on air. But in the studio, I didn't hear the. I just heard the booth.
Yeah.
So they put me on air, and then I came out of the studio. He was like, "Yes, we put you on air for like 5 minutes. You definitely got the job." And I was like,
You didn't even know you were
"Whoa."
on air.
No.
How dope is that?
Yeah, that's a hell of confidence because you may play some dirty versions.
I was
or-
just about to say, thank God I was
Yeah.
like 12 at the time, because at
Clean.
the time I only had clean music.
Oh, is
Now
that
I'm
right?
Only had clean music, like nothing dirty. But now I've obviously
Yeah.
grown up and
Right. So
matured a little.
We jumped off top because I kind of want to go in order.
Man.
Here it is that you like you say you felt something at 4. Your mom birthed you. That's when that's your mom. That's all you know. So you never questioned the daddy thing, right?
I just knew what I was told.
Right. And your mom keeps it 100. She is nothing to camouflage.
Absolutely.
All right. Cool.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So your family is who your immediate circle is always, and then you start saying you felt something. When you say you felt, like, what does that mean? Like, let's go into that. Like, what did you feel?
I think what I mean by I felt something is like when I look at it from this place, I know that if I go back and like, oh, what was I thinking in that moment? I just thought that's what it was. Like I was born and I was like, oh, so like I just like to play with these toys. I like to wear these clothes. I like to present myself in this way. But it wasn't until I knew what separated men from women, then I was like, oh, so now there's some shit that I'm not even aware of, but I know that I'm not aware of it, but I know I have it. And for me, that was just my masculine identity. Like I've always been masculine. Ever like before I transitioned, I was primarily like known as a lesbian, really, and female, cisgendered, female, black, gay, tomboy, stud. Like that was that at the time. I was like, oh, okay, so like I'm here, like that's it. But
Yeah.
once I started learning more about the trans community, the resources.
And you see your mom as an example. She
Totally.
date women, or
Right. I was
So-
just following her footsteps, really.
right. So that's what you know.
Yeah.
When was you found the information like, about the trans community, and again, I'm coming from a very ignorant place of lack of knowledge. So,
It's not ignorant. It's just limited. That's all.
yes. So
Yeah.
how old were you when you were like, okay, I feel like I want to make a transition, and yeah, like you just talk about that because you're 19. I'm like 19. You
pretty
lived,
young.
You lived. You right now. You're like, man, I feel 40. I'm like, you're 19. Wait until you get
Right.
38.
Right.
Right. So, what was the decision? What was the information that was presented to you? How old were you? Where you were like, I feel like I want to make a transition.
I remember like questioning it a lot when I was
In high school?
in high school, but I didn't know. I was out as gay in high school, but the thing is that I
While
was,
working with us, really?
Yeah. There's another layer here also, which is that not only did I came out as trans male when I did, like, fast forward to 18,
Okay.
and then I also figured out that I was gay, which was huge for me because I primarily only liked girls, like, all of my life. Like, that was only what I was only into women. Like, I only pitted myself to be attracted to women.
Right.
Okay.
Because I didn't know that, like, oh shit, it's not that I'm a lesbian, it's that I'm a transgender man, and, like, you know what I'm saying? So
Hold
it's
on.
so many.
Hold on. Time out. So you're saying, I'm trying to follow the story.
Mm-hmm.
You were a gay
Woman.
woman.
Yeah.
You transitioned from being a gay woman to being a man, but
That's-
you're a gay man.
I consider myself queer, so I'm like anybody.
What's the difference?
Yeah,
Please break it
what's
down.
What's
Yeah.
the definition?
So queer is more like a.
I thought it was a bad word at one time.
And it was, and it's just as like there's many words that that are derogatory but now I feel like because of social media and Gen Z and the representation.
Are you Gen Z?
Yeah, like barely.
Do you know what generation you are?
Yeah, hold on. It's a lot of
All right, man.
acronyms being thrown at me. It's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff.
Pronouns.
I just know I'm not a Gen Zer.
Yeah, you're old.
Yeah, I'm seasoned. Back to you, please, Nico.
So it was
What we were talking about queer. What
queer.
The definition.
The definition of queer is really, however, I feel like in this era, anyone can identify as queer in their own way. Like, it's sort of like an interchangeable term. Like, when I say queer, I mean that I'm just open to. Queer to me means I just like beautiful people. So you can be a woman, you can be a man, you can be a trans woman. I don't need to know what you got going on.
Right.
But if I find you attractive and I think your personality is awesome, then cool.
Is that fluid?
Very much so, yeah.
Fluid. All right.
Well,
I learned
one
that
could say that,
terminology in New York.
got it?
It's a lot to learn.
Yes.
It's a lot to learn.
Okay, so
This is during high school.
This is like middle school and high school. Practically the whole time I was at the station, I was going through this whole thing. Like,
But she's definitely, Nandi was definitely in the community DJing. You know, you're
pride
supporting.
festivals, all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
already because her
In
mom
fact,
was
that was
active.
my first gig, actually.
Yep.
First gig I ever did, I was 9, and I was in the Bay Area, and I was on this truck, and it was like 5,000 people there. That was my first, like, public gig.
Right.
yeah.
And ever since then, I've been knee-deep in the community.
Let's talk about your transition. How
Yeah, that was first.
How does
I want-
one
yeah,
go?
What's the first step?
Yeah, like how does one go and say, okay, well, I guess, is there a, because you have to be sure, right? So is there like a
Yeah.
mental thing that you have to go through first? And then
Counseling, or
yeah,
is it talk to
counseling,
your
there's some
mom?
steps. Like, what
I
is that?
did. My mom always knew. Well, I remember my mom saying that, like, she hoped that I was never gay. And she only said that not because she didn't, like, she had a thing towards gay people, obviously, because she's part of the community. But she said it because she didn't want me to have to, like, experience, like, adversity and bullying, all of the stuff in which I faced when I was, like, in middle school, high school.
Yeah.
Already.
And that was just for me being gay. So I was like, if I wanted to come out as trans in high school, I was like, fuck that. I'm not about to do that. I'm like, I'm about to just wait till I'm 18. I know for a fact that this is what I want to do. I'm
Yeah.
away from these kids, and I could just do my thing,
Graduation and I'm out.
Yeah.
So high school
Send me my
wasn't.
diploma in the mail.
Yeah. So high
type
school
shit.
wasn't good for you.
It was okay. Like, well, Big went to the same high school as me, so he come there. I DJ the proms, but I was being picked on a lot. But I had like this attention on me that I didn't necessarily like. I in my view, it felt like I had the wrong attention on me. Like, I knew that I was pretty well known in my school because of me doing DJing and me traveling the world and me doing what I love and my passion. But even when I was like out as a lesbian, I knew that was like, this is not where I want to be. Like, I just knew that it was something I didn't else. Know what something. I just didn't know what it was. I didn't have the language to comprehend like what that meant for me until I was a lot older.
So Nico, what was the first girl that you was like?
Hold on, man.
What?
We still didn't get the steps.
This is part of the step.
No, but like how you start? Like, how'd you start from? Yeah. I'm gonna do it to
right?
I'm gonna do it.
That makes sense. That like chronologically speaking, right? Or chronologically speaking, I was. Let's see. I felt like the first time I felt like I was outside of the gender that I was assigned at birth, which was female, was probably when I was about like 4 or 5.
Whoa.
Okay.
That's young.
It's really young, but my mom exposed me to gay people, trans people, like indigenous people, everyone, like everybody,
the whole community,
and then some. Right. Like there's not like my mom, and then for me also being like a biracial kid, because my mom is she's brown, she's dark skinned, but my father, the guy that I don't know or completely don't know, right? 5294.
5294.
So 52 he's Greek and German, and I'm about to find out some other stuff when I get my results from my test. But he, like he's born in Greece, like Greek man, like European. And my mom made sure that I had exposure to not only, like, because don't get me wrong, I got hood in the back of my pocket, but there's an intersectionality that comes to play when it comes to me being like a lighter pigmentation and then having like multiple identities, like being black, gay, trans, non-binary, biracial, assigned female at birth. Like, I could check a whole bunch of boxes off, but it's like the more boxes that come up, the more it shrinks you as far as being able to really represent yourself, I guess, publicly or in the public eye. And so that's why I kind of felt like the first time I had a crush on a girl, I was just like, I'm not having a crush on her because I did have a crush on her because I liked her, like, genuinely. And the first crush I had was, like, actually, no, I take that back. The first crush I ever had, like, in my life was on a boy, and his name is Dominic. And it was in 5th grade. He light-skinned dude. So he wasn't really messing with me because he kind of knew that something was off about me in the way that I presented myself. In 5th grade.
Okay.
In 5th grade. And he actually, he said some, I mean, everyone says stupid shit in middle school and high school, so I don't really hold grudges, but, like, he sort of, like, said he found out that my mom was gay somehow. I don't know how, but he asked if my mom was gay because when I graduated from Scratch Academy, I invited my whole class to my graduation ceremony, and he showed up, and I was surprised. I was like, why would he be here?
Yeah.
If he don't really mess with me like that, like, why would he be here? But he came through.
Okay.
And he saw my mom and her ex-wife at the time, and they were, like, holding hands, being somewhat affectionate, and he came back to me, or he called me, and he was like, is your mom gay?
Right.
And I was like, well, what does that make me? Because, like, I didn't know what that was for myself. So for the fact that someone asked us about my mom, and my mom is the person that I've been looking up to. Like, my mom was a single mom, so it like me and her are like this.
Super close. Yep.
Super close. So that's kind of how like ever since that happened, I was like, okay, I'm not straight and I'm not a girl. So something is not clicking, but I know it's there.
Yeah. Okay. Because
it's layers to this.
There's so many.
It's hella layers.
Let's jump to the transition.
So that's the first step.
Because you're young, right? Like you're still young now.
19.
You're 19 years old.
Yeah.
But you, like you said, Fuzz, you carry yourself very mature. I know there's people are probably like, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's a big step. So once you say you get to the point of I'm 1,000% I want to do this, what happens next?
With the transition, you're
With
talking
the
about.
transition.
With the transition.
I would want to say, well, when COVID happened, and I couldn't, no one could go anywhere, and then that's when like I stopped DJing on air at the station because of COVID, and then and then that changed, and then I was like, well, you know what? My uncle, rest his soul, my Uncle Mark, he passed away from COVID, but he'd been battling with AIDS like all his life. And so as soon as COVID broke out, we were like, my mom and I were like, yeah, he's walking on thin ice, because he was already going, like his immune system was already kind of going.
So complications, yeah.
Very much. And when he passed away, something just clicked in me, and I was just like, I gotta live my truth now, like, because he didn't get to meet Nico. I mean, Nico was always there in spirit, but like he didn't get to. He never even like I never even said my name to him, like, at all. Like he never knew.
And he would have been fully supportive, of course.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I know he is, even to this day, and he's not here with me. Like his anniversary is coming up in March, and I like it's been 2 years, and I think about him all the time. Like I have he showed me Buddhism, and that also connected me more with myself. And he's a gay man as well, and so so I just always had like this. I think I just always knew, like, subconsciously, but I just didn't know like when I was gonna like act on it, And that's why the relationship with me and X wasn't necessarily.
You're good.
You know what I'm saying?
You're good.
I try.
Yeah. So COVID happens 2020 now, right? So that kind of like you're at the house, you're not DJing on air. So now you're saying I want to really transition to Nico.
Yeah.
So what's that step to, like, I saw, if you watch your Instagram, I saw Nandi taking hormone pills.
Oh, injections.
Injections. I'm sorry, injections.
Yeah. Needles and oof, man.
And you were like, really? I'm like, yo. And I'm seeing you talk about it, taping down your breast. And like, I'm like, oh, this is really, you're really documenting this for everyone to see.
Yeah.
No, like not being ashamed at all, right? Yeah. So, wait, how expensive is something like that?
It really depends on what you are going for, like what the goals are.
Right.
Because I know for a fact that like this year, like I haven't gotten top surgery yet, but I really I want to get, like, it's going to happen this year. Like I know for sure.
What do you mean top surgery? Like what's?
To remove my breast fat.
So that's the next step.
Next step, yep.
What are okay, so you, like Fuzz said, right?
It's pretty pricey though for most of that stuff.
How much is that?
Well, I got the program that I used to get hormones was called Plume, and I actually did like some sponsor work with them, like as I was documenting it on my Instagram.
Right.
And it was great because I was able to. They were so, like, I was posting on TikTok. I had like hundreds of thousands of likes on there, and people were hitting me up and they're like, these young trans kids, like, how do you have access to this stuff and you're like only 18? Like, I've been trying to get access to this for so long. And Plume was that company, and it's a company by trans people for trans people. You subscribe for like $100 a month, and they give you a month's supply of hormones, and
which is an injection.
So you can do pills, you can do gel, you can do injections. Injections are cheapest; they're the most affordable.
So that was the first injection.
First injection.
Let's talk about the first injection.
Oh,
when you first got it, were you nervous?
I was so nervous. I remember the day I did it. I was at my boy's apartment, right, and he was working, and I FaceTimed him while he was out of town, and I did my shot, and it was like COVID, so I couldn't like go to a doctor. Couldn't like physically demonstrate like how to do it.
They would usually do that for you, right? If you had to go to a doctor's office, yes, you can.
Okay. You can, and it's you don't have to do it like like some people are really scared of needles. Like I'm not that scared of needles. Let's just say that like after taking the hormones, and because I do injections in my thigh every week. In fact, my shot day is tomorrow. So, but every week, like, I have to, even saying that, like, I have to mentally prepare myself, because I'm like, oh shit, like, I might be here, I might be here, I might be.
It's a roller coaster of emotions, or is it like
It's second puberty, man.
Wow. Oh, that's why when you said second puberty. So
That's why I just couldn't. Him and I just weren't clicking, because it was like, dude, like,
X?
you
You're
had
talking
a-
about the X.
you had
yeah,
a bunch of stuff going
Yeah.
on. So when you do the injections, what happens? How do you feel? What are the, the things that are supposed to happen? Is it deeper voice? Is it like what's the transition?
Well, it of course it varies for everybody, but for me, my voice dropped pretty fast, and I grew a mustache pretty quickly.
Well, you talking about in a couple of months? You think it started happening?
Yeah, like I probably like 2 weeks in or 3 weeks in, I had a shadow on my lip, and I was like,
Whoa!
whoa.
Right.
I was like, wait a minute. And it really, when it set in for me, was when my voice started changing, and like and even still to this day, like I'm thinking of getting a vocal coach, therapist, or something like that, so that I could help like with my range, because I've been talking at a certain tone all my life, and I'm used to hearing myself differently, like
You're tripping off of that, aren't you?
all the time. Like all the time. Like I record videos of myself, and that's why I documented it, because I
course.
wanted people to see, like, not only for them, but obviously, I wanted it for myself, and to share that with people has just been a gift, really.
All right. So we talked about. So now it's injections. So you've been doing injections for over a year and a half.
I hit my year on January 21st of this year.
Okay. So it's been a year.
A year and some change.
Mustache.
Voice.
And no surgery yet.
No surgery yet.
So the first surgery you want to have is
Chest.
top. Technically, it's called top.
Top surgery.
All right.
Man,
Yep.
So we were talking about surgeries, but have you gone from a psychological standpoint? Have you gone through therapy?
I have.
Okay.
I have. I've been in therapy ever since I was like 12.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, but even when I was in therapy, I wasn't necessarily talking about, like, my therapist didn't even know that, like, I identified like this. Like, I didn't mention it. Like, I just, throughout all my life, especially with me and my ex, it's mainly why I was in therapy, because, not because of him, obviously, but obviously because, like, I felt like I just didn't have the language to explain, because I could barely figure out what was going on with me, you know what I'm saying? So psychologically, when you're young, and then too, like, when you're, I don't want to say conditioned, because it sounds harsh, but like, and nowadays it's changing drastically, but like, I was born in 2002, not saying that it's like, I was born in like 85, but like, if I go back to what it was like before I transitioned, I was raised, to hold myself a certain way, to have certain manners, to present myself like a female. And I could be masculine. Like, my mom was cool with that. I mean, my mom never stopped loving me. But for her, it was also like, oh shit, like, the daughter that I had for 18 years is no longer here. I have to process that.
She had to process it also.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
That's kind of why my mom and I moved out of my mom's house for a little bit, because I was like, I want to give you your space, so that way when I'm transitioning, it's not hard for her to watch, because I get that, there is grief that's involved in it, like, even for myself, there was grief and I'm still grieving parts of myself to this day, especially when I think of my ex. I'm like, oh shit, like, I wouldn't say that, I wouldn't do that if I had the language, like, shoulda, coulda, woulda, all these things, but that's just growth in general. But psychologically for me, it was like, I really had to tell myself, like, dude, when you do these injections, like, this shit is permanent. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you cannot reverse that at all. And even if you stop taking hormones, which I did at one point for like 3 months, not the best,
Wasn't a
not
good
an
idea.
ideal decision.
What happened?
What was the reason why you stopped taking them?
Ex.
Popped back in? He popped back in.
He basically, the way that I was changing, we just weren't coexisting. In his eyes, we weren't coexisting in a way that he felt comfortable.
Got it.
And he felt like I needed to transition in another household.
Damn.
But he was the one who was like,
It supported. He was.
come live with me. Like, you can have this space.
So he switched up on you. Pause. I mean,
This is a soft pause, you know?
soft pause.
So,
Pause.
so okay, you stopped for 3 months, and what was going on psychologically? You know,
I was going through some shit. I got really depressed.
Oh, I can imagine.
As we speak, I'm in mental health treatment.
Got it.
Like it's good because but the reason why, and like me getting off of hormones is kind of what led me there, because ever since I got off hormones, I lost so many. It's like taking a butterfly out of a cocoon that's not
Ready.
to come out yet. That's what it was like for me. And if you do that, you're just gonna get like some little, I don't know.
Unborn.
Yeah, it's like if you take a baby out the womb and they're premature, they're gonna have some problems.
Yeah.
You know, like, and so for me, like he wanted something more, and I was like, dude, it's not that I don't want something more. It's just that I can't
With you.
right now.
yeah, you were going through
Right
a
now.
transition. That's a lot.
Oh, you seen these shots, man? What's up?
So when you do the shots, is it like, let us know, educate us. Is it 36 months? Is it a 48-month process? Is it forever?
Unless I want to get off hormones to get pregnant, which I have a 64% chance of doing, then that's when I would stop. But I'm on it for forever, really, for as long as I live.
And do you feel the impact or feel the change? Is it like a shift? Is it a jolt that happens when you?
I definitely like
You can
my body, like the fact that my body and brain are now synced and aligned, because it's like, for me, it's like kind of like baby steps, because, and that's what I mean when I say, like, you know, it's literally like you going through a second puberty, like all over again. And then, but when you're doing that and coming into adulthood at the same time,
Wow.
it's mind blowing, which is, you know, just goes back to my point. Like, I've always carried myself in this
Right.
way that was like, you know, I know what I'm doing, but in my mind, I was just like, I'm just really winging this shit.
Was there anybody in your circle like, hey, maybe you should wait until you're a little bit older
Oh,
to do this?
absolutely. There were trans people that were telling me that.
Yeah.
But it's not because they didn't want me to transition. They just wanted me to, like,
Make sure.
be safe, you know?
Yeah.
I want to be safe, and they wanted for me to make sure that I was, like, 1,000% certain that this is what I wanted to do. This is how I wanted to do it. Because my mood, the way I respond to emotion, the way I present myself, like, the way I exist now is different.
Right.
I'm just moving and shaking.
Can
a
I
little
play
bit
devil's
differently.
advocate on something? So you grew up in a gay house. Is that the right terminology?
Yeah.
Gay. So did you hear anybody saying, "Of course, Nandi will be," or "Of course"? How did you feel? How did you react to that? Like, of course, her mom's gay. She's been married. Like, that's all you know. So of course, you didn't have a. Do you feel like your mom gave you a choice or option to either go hella female or be going into this transition? Like, well, you think it was destined or you just felt it?
I feel like it was kind of, because here's the thing. I feel like if I knew what trans meant when I was younger, like when I was like maybe 5, 6 or something, I probably would have, my life, like 95% of the things that happened in my life probably wouldn't have happened if I knew at that very moment that, like, I was trans, this is how I want to be. So this for me has been an ongoing sort of developmental thing. So I knew from I want to say like middle school, like 7th or 8th grade, that I was like gay. The first thing I came out as was bisexual. But
In middle school.
In middle school. Well, I was outed as bisexual, which sucked. But if it weren't for those experiences, it wouldn't have manifested like it has for me today.
Really?
Not at all.
Okay. So listen. So now we're going from ejections, and when do you drop Nandi? Like, what was the process of you picking the name Nico? Like, I want to hear what other I want to hear what other names you had.
So I had a whole list of like names that I would just hear from like TV, movies, billboards, like wherever, and I would just like pull out my phone and be like, "Oh, that's a dope name," and just write it down.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I started transitioning like socially before I, you know, took hormones and all that, I was like, okay, well, I knew that in the back of my head, because my background, I'm Greek, Black, and German, and I was like, if I have a son. When I get older, if I have children, I would want my son's name to be Nico. And then sure enough, I totally forgot that was actually the first name that I wrote
Really
down.
liked.
And it stuck with me for the rest of my life. And then it happened to also be the only name that started with the letter N. So that's what I was like, this is it. Like,
Yeah.
Nandi, Nico, and.
Yep.
And so you dropped DJ Young One also?
Yeah.
DJ Young One's done.
Even before Nico, like even when I was Nandi, like I was like, no, I want to be Nandi.
Right.
You know what I'm
Because
saying?
Young One is almost like, I'm not a kid no more.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
Right.
So do the hormones that you take, the injections that you take, does that stop the female things that are going on?
Oh yeah. For me it did. But when I got off hormones, that was why it was such a pain because
He started coming back again.
it started coming back again and I was like, yo, like this is and the only reason why I got off hormones was because my ex suggested that I get off of it because he thought I was like out of character. And I'm like, dude, of course I'm gonna come off out of character because I'm literally I'm having puberty still. I'm having male puberty as a female assigned at birth who is 18 years old. Like, yeah, my character's not gonna be like it was 5 years ago. You know?
What would your advice be to someone who's thinking about transitioning as early or as young as you have?
Time. That's literally like, do not rush. Because when I was taking testosterone, like, I wanted to do it so quickly. But then once I started, like, getting myself in the momentum of, oh, shit, like, this shit is, like, permanent. Like, I cannot go back. It almost there was some parts of me that were just like, whoa. Not that I didn't want to, but it was just like, okay, you need to, like, for future references, just be intentional. So I guess that's what my advice would be.
Take time.
Take time, but be intentional with the time.
Was there any
You know what I'm
support
saying?
groups that you were a part of that,
Yeah.
you know, that
In the community.
Yeah, because
Oh yeah, my mom is very involved in like this black LGBTQ sort of like panel, and it's where she goes, you know, to ask for help if she feels as though, like, you know, she needs to go outside of me, which I encourage my mom to do.
Right.
And I encourage everyone to do that. Like, if you don't know something, it's okay to ask, but it's always good to, like, you know, go explore and, like, see what's out there. So the groups that I'm involved in, the Los Angeles LGBT Center, for sure, they have this weekly, like, meeting, or they have weekly meetings, like, every day. They have, like, Zooms, but they have, like, yoga classes, cooking classes, like mental health support.
Yeah.
They even have like chat rooms where, like, if you want to know resources about, like, you know, what type of surgery you want to get, you can ask. And it's a great platform. It's called Trans Lounge. Another one is definitely LA Pride. LA Pride is literally, like, supporting me. The Human Rights Campaign.
100%.
Man, I've been DJing for HRC ever since I was 10.
All right, you got the injections. Now, do you cut your hair? Like, what's the next step? Like, I'm from going through this. I gotta cut my hair. Like, you can't.
you gotta get a barber. Like,
So was that the second, like?
It's a bill now.
Weekly, but every 2 weeks probably.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
welcome to
It's
the club.
worth it, you know? Yeah.
Well, not me. Well, you know. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
But so you like, I can't keep long hair. I don't want to identify as a female.
Yeah.
Is that the first thing you do? Is like cut your hair?
The first thing I did, that actually was the first thing I did was cut my hair. I mean, I was.
How
was I
emotional
binding
were
before?
you during that? Like, that's a.
Oh, I didn't cut
big
my hair
step.
until I was 18. My mom was like, "I'm not letting you cut your hair until you're 18," and I was just like, "But you don't know why I want to cut my hair so bad." She just didn't want me to cut it because she thought that if I did, like, I would, like, regret it. But obviously, like,
Because you always had curly hair.
I mean, I still do. Like, it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's my hair texture's actually changed too ever since the hormones.
What?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, the science behind it is insane. Like,
So now you got to shave.
Now I have to shave. Now I shaved my face. I shaved my sides. Like I just got this cut yesterday, but I had like some
Stubble.
little stubble. Yeah.
Have you met people that have hit on you that didn't know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it happens all the time.
So how do you?
Yeah.
What's the process there? Did you say right away? You don't have to, but what?
It's like I don't know. Like it depends on the. It depends on like the scenario. Like it depends on like how it comes up.
Yeah.
Right.
But many people, which I don't blame many people. I don't blame other people because obviously it's the look that I'm going for essentially. But like when people see me, they're not like, oh, that is a trans guy. Like people don't. They don't see me like, oh, like that's a trans. Like they don't think that. You know, I'm pretty passing. I sound like a guy. I dress like a guy. I present myself very masculine, but it depends. I say it depends on the situation because it depends on the environment that I'm in. Virtually, I will say, like, when I've done, like, the Tinder shit or whatever, like, I mostly, like, I put on my profile that I am a queer trans man so that people know like, straight up.
Got
it
it.
ain't no
Got it.
trick, nothing.
No, because I don't even want to, like, it's not that I don't want to have the conversation. It's just that I know that, like, I'd rather someone swipe left on me because they see that than swipe right on me and then they find out and then we have to cut ties because, you know.
I have so many questions right now.
Oh my gosh.
So, okay. Nico, have you had people try to date you and thinking, be it that when you're a female or a male, you're going through a male right now, but feel like they can turn you back or try to like do the, I can flip like the flip, like I can make you go back to liking guys or whatever the case may be.
Have
you ever felt like somebody like you're testing me? Like, don't test me.
Yeah, that has happened a couple of times.
How do you react to that?
Well, that's sort of like, I don't know. It's for me. I tell people all the time, like, what you can't always think that what you see is what you get because when you date someone, and even if it's like outside of gender, right? Like, if someone dresses a certain way, or if someone, I don't know, for like, let's just say, for example, like, there's this tall guy, like, he's built, buff, macho, whatever, and he starts talking and his voice is higher. It's like, you're not going to date him anymore because you expected, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's the same thing. That's how I see it. Like, are you going to try to date someone and be like, well, you look manly, but I'm going to date you and see if we can get your voice to be deeper.
Right.
It's sort of like, why beat a dead horse?
When you go to the bathroom, you're going into the male bathroom?
Yeah.
Nico.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, it's all gender now.
Is there other steps that you want to do to
Make the full
full? Like, do you want to,
top surgery down
top?
bottom
Do
surgery?
you want to do yes, thank you, Fuzz. That was tasteful.
I mean, he talked about top. I'm thinking bottom.
Yes.
Well, I would hold off on the bottom surgery because I'm open to carrying. Like, I'm open to having children.
Wow.
Not at this point in my life, obviously, but I can't. If I get bottom surgery now, I won't be able to carry.
Yeah.
I won't be able to give birth. And there's still a chance that I could. It's a 64% chance that trans men can get pregnant. They just have to get off their hormones.
Now,
All right. Okay. So
trying to follow.
I'm trying to follow suit. All right. So
you
not
could
to get vulgar.
So top, you definitely want top surgery.
No, do your worst.
I'm trying to figure out. All right. So let's follow it here, Fuzz.
You took off your hat. You're serious.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to break it down. All right. So it was Nandi, and then Nandi
Craig.
That's right.
Shout out to Roger Craig. He's a great football player. Never mind. All right. Nandi.
Craig Robinson.
Yeah. All the Craigs. Nandi went to Nico, and
Nico's here.
Nico, you're here,
Yep.
and you identify as a gay trans man.
Queer trans guy. Sometimes gay, sometimes queer. I don't know. It's sort of. I felt the funny thing is that I've only had experience, like, dating or involving myself with guys, which is very ironic because before and the first time I even, stepped into a adult world per se, I I did not expect for it to be with another guy. I just didn't.
So you're attracted to guys?
Yeah. But before I transitioned,
No.
I was not. It was just internalized is what it was for me. And
you're-
that's why.
But that's what I'm.
Gay male.
You're a gay male, but man, I'm trying to say this tastefully.
Say it.
How?
What's the difference?
What's the difference? Yeah, like are you? It's like I know
you're-
what gay sex means. Is it still gay sex, or are you still doing it the way?
Vaginally.
Yes.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
And I'm not trying to get, but I'm just, these are the frequently asked questions.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally valid. I mean, because
And
people
not try to invade your privacy, but
not at all. Listen, and the thing is like this is a conversation that's it's evolution. That's really all it
right,
is.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm totally cool. Like I answer people's questions all the time because I don't want to be one of those people that's like, oh, like
You don't. Yeah.
trans people are so.
assume.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those
Nico is
cats.
advertises the toys that Nico owns.
And the funny
Am I
thing
right?
is, I didn't. The thing about it is, like, I didn't do it intentionally. Like, I just posted it and I tagged the guy that created it. Shout out to Buck Angel. Buck Angel is
What?
the,
Buck Angel is a person who made the toy.
Yeah,
that's a dope
Sound
name.
like a old
Yeah,
porn star or
it
something.
does.
he is.
I just told on myself. Shout out to Buck. I know who Buck is. White dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, back in the day.
Oh, that's your
90s.
guy?
Yeah, no, I just know he's an old dude. He's old.
he's Trampa.
Yeah, he's an old dude. I know who this
Grandpa.
guy. Buck Angel. That's
Buck
hilarious.
Angel. He follows me on Instagram, and I posted
That's
it.
funny.
I
know who
tagged
Buck
it.
Angel is.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, old dude.
Yeah, he's cool. He's cool. He's been in Hollywood. Like he's been around.
Oh,
for
he's
a
an OG,
minute.
like 90s. Yeah, I knew somebody that owned a porn company, and Buck used to be on some of the films.
Yeah, Buck has been around. He's been
That's
there, done that.
hilarious.
But he's so
Shout out to
cool.
Al.
Nice.
Wait, so the toy, like, so you saw the toy and advertised it.
I saw it and I bought it and I took it on Instagram and I took a
Right.
picture and I was like, shout out to Buck Angel for making this. And then he posted my photo
Wow.
and then he followed me and then we got in touch with each other and then we just started talking and I was just like, dude, like I've been looking up to you before I even knew that Nico existed. Like it was that like yeah, that's
So
Trampa.
what does that mean? He's transpa.
He calls himself Trampa because he's an older, like he's like probably in his 50s or 60s.
Okay.
But he's a trans guy and he's
Oh wait, I didn't know Buck was trans.
yeah.
See, that's why
Yeah.
but maybe that's
What,
what you.
Buck-
That's why I loved having these conversations because many people say
He didn't wait, but back in the day,
Buck Angel. Are we talking about the same Buck
maybe
Angel?
not. I don't know.
Does he have tattoos?
I don't know.
Now,
I don't,
now you don't know.
no,
Come
dead
on,
ass.
bud.
I'm just no. But it was an old. I'm thinking about an old dude that you see. We
Now
all my
you
boys.
now you don't know, Fuzz.
Me, I
He's
don't
white,
know.
white
Oh,
guy.
you know.
White guy.
The old dude.
White
I'm
guy.
gonna call Al. I'm gonna ask
Okay.
Al. I gotta call. Remind me to call Al.
Okay.
All right.
Al knows what's up then because that's a small world. Buck Angel is the only Buck Angel I know. There's only one Buck Angel that I know.
I don't know.
Let me ask you: how should because I think we hear people making jokes. People, this is the first time I've had an in-depth conversation.
We both have.
about
You told
about
me
this
both.
process, and it's not like something that you're doing that you're like, oh, I'm doing this and I want people to
Right.
ridicule me and judge me and do these things. What would you say to people who do ridicule and who do judge and who don't understand or don't care to understand and just try to make
Not open.
not open and try to be hurtful? What would you say? What would your message be?
People are trying to be open but not trying to be hurtful.
Or just people like, oh, that's funny, ha ha ha. But it's like, this is your real life. This is how you felt a certain way. You were brave enough to transition. There's going to be a lot of people watching this video saying, oh, y'all did this, or there's going to be people saying whatever.
People are always
gonna
gonna
say.
have something to say.
Yeah.
And that's what I will say. People are always gonna have something to say. Like no matter what you do, like even when I transitioned, like I've gotten death threats. People have told me
Wow.
to kill myself.
What?
People have told me that I'm like a danger to society. Like people, I've even been in because I went to a 24-hour fitness and I have a membership there or at the time I had a membership there and there was this guy in there. I was in the locker room. Obviously, I'm not gonna go. I'm at the point in my transition where, like, if I go into a women's locker room, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So at this point, I have to go. You know, but every once in a while, if there's no women in the women's restroom, I'll just go in there because I'm just like, you know what? I just want to get in, get out. But one time I went in the locker room and this guy, I took my shirt off and I had tape. And he just straight up just asked me, like, why do you have tits and why do you have tape on? And I was just like, damn. I was like, I really don't even know how to answer that question because I don't know why you asked me that question.
Wow.
And that's what I told him. Like, it's really just why. Like, if you, like, it's one thing if you want to be like, oh, like, I noticed you have tape. Like, do you mind, like, are you okay? Or, you know what I'm saying? I've gotten that before. And I don't even have, like, my breasts aren't even that huge either. Like, I'm actually not even wearing tape now. Like, I'm literally just wearing a shirt and undershirt under here.
Yeah.
But if I were to take my shirt off, it would look like I lost weight or something like that.
Got it.
Which is why I just want to get surgery so that I could
Just
flatten it out.
Yeah. I mean, Fuzz, it's so much. First of all, I want to say thank you for just allowing us to have this dialogue and just ask you these questions because coming from
Totally.
again African American community,
Facts.
if it's not you strong straight male, it's an issue.
Yeah.
And we applaud your bravery and just allowing to
Educate us.
that's
Educate.
all this was about.
Yeah, I
educate.
learn more about myself the more I have these conversations too.
Yeah.
So it really it's a win-win for everybody because as long as and that's why I document, you know, what I do because I want other people, especially black trans kids, because God damn it, we need to really really have to. And when I say we, I don't even mean just black people. Like I mean everybody because it's already hard enough to be this. Like people, but the thing is with me, with the black trans experience, people see this and that's all they need to know. And it's like, okay, here we go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's just what it is for you, for you, for me, like for everybody. It's like that with everybody who's a person of color in this country, in this state. And so it's like, you know, that's why I'm just like, there's got to be some way I can show people that I can just do me and be okay with that. Like I don't have to be. I'm not doing it to be like, oh, you know, I want attention. Like I do it because I want other people to know that you can do this too. It's possible. Because at one point I thought that it was not. Like I really straight up did. I thought that I was gonna be trapped in my old body for the rest of my life, and that was something that scared me shitless. Like
Really?
it did. And as a DJ, that's what I kind of want to talk about DJing because DJing is what helped me along my way sort of cope with what I was going through. Like that was my happy place. Like I was comfortable there. Like that was my safe haven, DJing. So
Music, being around it, DJing.
to be on the radio and to connect with like millions of people a day was just like, that was just like, I felt like I was just like on top of the world. Like it literally, like I was like, you know what? Like I saw myself in a different way that I didn't have access to at the time that I have now. Cause now I can look in the mirror and I see something different.
Yeah.
But you know, before when I was DJing, I wake up and I look in the mirror and I'd be like, you know what? I might be judging myself about, you know, my appearance and whatnot. But when I get on the turntables, all that shit just melts away. And it still does to this day. And that's why I love to do what I do, because it's my way of representing and also, you know, connecting with the hip-hop community, with the house community, with EDM community, with whatever I'm doing. So
I saw also on Instagram that you legally changed your name.
mm-hmm.
How hard was that process?
I'm actually still in the process of that.
Really?
I thought that was the last hoop that I had to jump through, right? But it turns out that you have to get the judge's permission to change your name. Then you have to take that document to the Department of Public Health, and then you have to fill out these papers, and then someone has to sign you, watching you sign the papers. Then you have to you have to amend your birth certificate, your social security number,
wow.
everything. So I still, like, legally, I'm still Nandi.
Got it.
And I actually kept Nandi in my name, so I'll be changing it to Nico Amari Nandi Craig.
Got it.
And talk about some of the people that, reach out to you because they're seeing your journey and you're helping other people through your, through
absolutely.
showing your journey.
Man, I get messages like every day, and
Dope.
it's really what keeps me. It keeps me very humble.
Dope.
It keeps me grateful and I see so much of myself in these people, like before I transitioned. So, like last time I visited my brother in Virginia, and we were celebrating Hanukkah because he's Jewish. I was with my Jewish family, and he had some friends, like some Jewish friends, come over, and they were like assigned female at birth, pre-transition, but identifies as male, and is like I think 14. And I didn't know, like I didn't assume. I typically, when I see people, I don't know. For me, I kind of have an eye. Like I could tell when someone is like, I could tell that you're giving non-binary vibes, or you're giving, queer energy, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, it's not like, it's not a one size fits all type of thing,
Yeah.
And I met this kid, and his name is Matthew, and I saw so much of myself at 14 when I was 14. Like I saw so much of that, and I gave him a tool that he can use to pack. And I was like, if someone gave me this, if someone gave me this at 14, I would have felt like my inner child would have been like, I have myself, like I'm
Relieved?
cool. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's safe in a way too, like affirmed. In my gender, affirmed in my body and how I present. Like,
Yeah.
because people aren't gonna see, what happens behind closed doors. So if you can just go in and you feel good about yourself, changes the game, man.
Nico, what's next for you? Professionally, personally?
Well, I since COVID is all over the place, I'm gonna get my Twitch channel up and running, so I do live streams on there. I did live streams when I moved out of my mom's house, and I was doing stuff with Behind the Rhyme TV. Shout out to Ann Carly and to Devin, like the whole Behind the Rhyme squad. They're so dope. They had me on this show. I had my own show called Internext on there, and it was sort of like I would DJ. We'd have DJs on there, and then we would have, most importantly, like we have conversations about culture, politics, music, art, like everything, entertainment, everything. So I had the president, well, not the president anymore, unfortunately, but I had the president of the Human Rights Campaign on my show. I had Shia Diamond, who's a trans woman, trans singer. She's amazing. I've had the first transgender senator from Delaware.
Wow.
Sarah McBride, had her on my show. So I'm thinking of getting back into my Twitch stream stuff.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm focusing on my mental health, because all this stuff that we've talked about today is actually pretty recent. Like all of this happened, everything that happened in 2021.
Wow.
Like
So
all
within a
of
year.
it. Yes, the whole year was just like, and that's why I kind of fell off a little bit. Like I kind of went MIA, because I was just like, I just want to transition, and I just want to figure out what I got going on. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you for your time.
It's a lot to unpack.
Fuzz was like, man, we need to call Nick. I'm like, no, let's
Yeah,
just have a
because-
conversation. I was like, let's have a conversation.
I was just, yeah.
Thanks for having me though.
No,
Thank
Nico, I
you.
just wanted to make sure it was respectful and making sure, because even with Ricky, I was just like, I just want to make sure I'm saying the right pronouns. And, I that's my lady, and she was just like, would correct me on certain things. I just want to be very respectful of this conversation, of course. But there's also, it's a friend mutual respect already, so.
And
Yeah,
and
love,
we'll
man,
say
love.
this, like if we have crossed the line in any way, it was never our intent.
I crossed the line.
No, just
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
when you're going in a space that you just don't know about, sometimes
Questions
You
come
want to be
up.
respectful.
You want
I
to
just
be
wanna
very
respectful.
respectful. So
I mean, that's what I acknowledge. Like I just acknowledge it, even if people like every once in a while, my mom will slip up, and I'm like, she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, don't trip. Like it's cool.
Yeah.
Hell, even when the bank calls me, I slip up. Like you know what I'm saying? Like when I go to a doctor's appointment or something, like I have my preferred name, but every now and then, it comes up. But I'm cool with it. Like, and also
You're still
like
learning too. Yeah.
I'm still learning. I'm young. I'm 19. I got all my life to go.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow. Where can people follow you on social media?
You follow me on Instagram at YourPalNico. That's URPALNICO. Twitter's YourPalNico. Twitch YourPalNico. I'm just everybody's pal. So
You're a pal.
Listen, we appreciate it. FAQ podcast. Listen, subscribe. Share it. Send it out. And
Get our YouTube page. Subscribe to that.
Run it up.
You want to advertise? Hit us up. fuzzynq@gmail.com. That's fuzzynq@gmail.com. Man, this is great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're educated.
Thank you for having me, Fuzzy and Q. I appreciate
you.
You
can come on the show anytime.
Yeah.
Hey, if y'all need a DJ, y'all know who to hire.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. Like, for real.
Yeah, we got to do a live. We'll talk about it.
We'll do a live show. Yeah. All right.
Twitch collab coming soon.
All right. Cool.
Yes, sir.